Yes, people, what is going on? Hope you are all good. Super Bowl 55 done and dusted. What do you make of it, guys? Come on, talk to us. What went on? Come on.
I'm a happy man.
Why?
I am a happy man. The man himself, Thomas Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion. Tom Brady's won more Super Bowls than the Patriots organization and the Steelers organization. That is insane to me. He's more likely to win a Super Bowl than Steph Curry is to hit a three. He's more likely to get into a Super Bowl than Babe Ruth was able to get on base. That stat is just... It's unbelievable.
It is insane. And I have to say, as a Dolphins fan, I should have been rooting for KC because my Patriots hatred is real. But I have to admit, I came on here and we did this podcast before. We did the video before we predicted our kind of the Super Bowl and our predictions, and I had KC winning. But I tell you, it's bloody easy to root for Tom Brady when he's not wearing navy. I tell you, it's very easy. It's very easy. I was really impressed by him and Gronk. I thought they were superb.
It's like poetry.
And I mean, you're the best person to talk to us about it. Obviously, being a Patriots fan, I mean, that was just vintage Brady.
It was, and there was points in that game where the colour of the uniform was the only reason I could tell that it wasn't the Patriots playing. There was on that Gronk touchdown. I've seen that play 400, 500 times over the Brady Gronk era. I knew exactly what's going to happen. It looks like a wham block. It looks like Fournette's going to run it in. No, it's a little screen, little dump. Gronk, even though there's 4 defenders on Gronk and not a single one of them got anywhere near him, it's unstoppable. And but although Brady played fantastic and that Buccaneers defense was immense, I think the Chiefs just... I'm so disappointed in them. I've never seen them play that badly. I don't think anyone expected them to play that badly. I think you saw in the Buffalo game they went 9-0 down and you thought, okay, Buffalo, you need to be ready because they're going to come at you. And they did. They came at them immediately. And, although Buffalo scored again, you just never thought they were going to beat the Chiefs. But there was not a single point in that game, maybe within the first 15, just under the first 15 minutes, other than that I thought the Chiefs had a chance of winning. And it was just really easy in the end. It's odd. I don't really know how to feel. I'm happy, obviously, but the Chiefs really let me down. Really let everyone down. I think they let themselves down, definitely.
And Cam, obviously, the Bucs, a team that your Packers beat in the championship game. Talk to me. What are your feelings? Because I think it's a bit natural to kind of support the other division because you don't want your rival winning. Was that the same thing for you? Because it wasn't the same thing for me. I actually wanted KC to win.
Yeah, no, I wanted Tampa Bay to win. It was like, I think it'd make us feel a little bit better that we lost to the champions. But like,
you're losing to the best, didn't you? You're going out to the best.
Yeah. It's like you'd rather lose to the best than have them then lose in the final. Like, I think it's more like, okay, we lost to the best team there. And it's like the way we put up a fight against, I think it was 31-25 in our game in the end. Like, we put up a better fight than what Kansas City did. And in fact, like, we picked up Brady 3 times. Like, we could have, if we made the most of those picks, like, we should have really won it. But it wasn't to be. Brady's just amazing. It's like, and like, I think it's more, as good as Brady was, I think the defense, like, they knew exactly what they had to do at Mahomes the whole time. Like, I've never seen someone in a game pressured that much. Like towards the end, Mahomes is running like 20, 30 yards and then trying to just put out like an unbelievable throw, just try and get something for the team. Like, yeah, go on, sorry.
Sorry, it just shows how good Mahomes is that every single one of those rushed passes were on target. There wasn't one that went miles into the stands. I think the one on third down before the Devin White interception, where he's almost vertical to the ground and he's in air. If you don't catch that pass, don't ever come back to the sideline. Just leave. Just retire. Yeah. You have to catch that pass. That is. I think you can say a lot of things about the Chiefs yesterday, but you can't question Mahomes' passion to win. There was not a moment where I felt like he'd given up on his team, where some other players possibly had. We'll talk about them later, but I think Mahomes. You went up against the best of all time. You shouldn't take this as it's heartbreaking, obviously losing, but you lost to the best. Go out and win it again next year. You're good enough to do it. He just got let down by the rest of his team, I think.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And there's actually quite a good stat that I'm gonna might blow you away with it.
Okay, let's go.
Are you ready? We are going to talk about Patrick Mahomes, obviously the losing quarterback in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes rushed for 500 yards yesterday.
What?
Whether it be going backwards, forwards, left, right, sideways, trying to avoid passes, he rushed for 500 yards.
Jesus Christ.
And that's nuts. Bearing in mind he was basically on one foot, because we all know that he's had a
Yeah.
problem with his toe and whatever.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is insane. And his will to win and his passion to win and his desire to try and keep it interesting, basically, for as long as possible and keep them in with a chance really cannot be criticised at all. I thought it was I can't say it was a superb performance from him, of course, because he obviously didn't even throw a touchdown. But superb effort-wise. Just didn't quite have the luck in certain capacities, and also the final product in other capacity as well. But very, very hard to criticise anything that he did yesterday.
That stat is completely mind blowing, because that only happens if every single receiver downfield is covered. If someone's open, you're throwing it to them. You may be on your run, back foot, whatever. You're throwing it to them, getting up, pass off. But the fact he had to rush for negative, sideways, vertical, positive 500 yards, whatever you want to call it, is a complete credit to the pass rush of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they were highly, highly underrated going into this game. I think a lot of us have seen the issues that Ndamukong Suh has had over his career, whether it be on the field and off the field antics, but him and Vita Vea in the middle were just unbelievable. The two pass rushes of JPP and Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett had a game of his life. Devin White, 12 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss and a pick. Who isn't even the number one linebacker? It's Lavonte David. Lavonte just said, "Yeah, kid, go show off," you know. And then the biggest question I had going into this game is, could those DBs handle Tyreek Hill? Could they handle Travis Kelce? And they did. Sean Murphy Bunting, had a really slow start to the season. Tyreek Hill put 203 yards in the first quarter against Tampa Bay when they first met on Carlton Dean. Carlton Dean had an amazing game. And then Antoine Winfield Jr., the rookie out of Minnesota, what a performance. Although I think that pick should never have happened. I think Tyreek Hill should have attacked that ball. It's in the air. It's floating. You don't just let it come to you. You attack it. Yes, he's small, whatever. You attack it. And it ended up being an easy pick for Winfield. But, man, that Buccaneers defense is something scary. If they can keep that team, if they can re-sign those players, it's scary. I don't even want to think about it. It's just freakish.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to describe it. Obviously, me being a Dolphins fan, I was actually quite happy with Ndamukong Suh. He's demanded a lot of respect basically throughout his career, and he's done a lot of stuff here in the UK as well. On the odd show, and when he was kind of out of contract with a few people, he'd come over, and he's a really nice guy. I'm lucky enough I've met him. But again, he has had his off-field stuff and on-field problems as well. But he's had a great career, and he's been a massive impact anywhere that he's been. The only thing he was missing was a ring, and now he's got it. So it really does highlight just how good he is. Is he potentially going to come back and do it again next year? I don't know. I mean, it would make complete sense, and no one would ever question him if he went, "Do you know what? That'll be it for me now. I'm going to just go home and put my feet up and relax." No one would question it at all. But just what an impact that defense as a whole had. Him being one of the big units and big parts of it. But on the flip side of that, I do also want to say about the very banged up and just broken offensive line for Kansas City Chiefs, which did make life a little bit easier for the Bucs defense as well, and just caused massive problems and put more pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
It just shows you how important the offensive line is, and it's literally one or two pieces gone, and you're a new team. It look like they've never played an offensive down ever before, and that's something that the Chiefs need to look at, is the depth, because yes, you have the stars, but if any of those players on the offense, if Mahomes gets injured, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets injured, I mean, there is some good running depth there, but the wide receiver core is poor other than the four that start. it showed the Chiefs up. It showed the Chiefs that they're a great team, but they have no depth at all. And Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz obviously missing is big. Duvernay Tardif is off helping in Canada with the COVID up there. They were bad. They looked like a junior college team. It's sad to see, but big moves need to be made. Big moves need to be made in the off season.
I'll bring you in again. We're talking about the Packers. You know, we're saying about depth for Mahomes and the Chiefs, which is very true. You looked at the Bucks offense, and it's stacked. It's absolutely stacked.
It's so stacked because you think like Antonio Brown came in, he scored a touchdown yesterday, but he didn't even start the game as well. Like, who do you have? Like, you have Fournette and Jones. They both like rushed for ages too. Then you have Gronk, Evans, Brown, Godwin, who I had to try and score a touchdown, but unfortunately he didn't. So my bet didn't come in. He only catch 2 yesterday, so it was a bit annoying. But like you just look and like they had so much depth the whole time. It's like they can rotate, you know, keep the Chiefs defense guessing. And Tyrann Mathieu as well, like, well, just before halftime, he pretty much lost his head with Brady.
Yeah,
I think we'll come on to that. We'll come on to that in a moment. But I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you a question because it's one that I think we, us two, can both probably agree with. Is although Patrick Mahomes got paid his absolutely ginormous contract, I don't know if we know what Brady got paid or if we if it was a little bit more elusive or whatever. But us both, the Dolphins and the Packers, need depth. We need options.
Yeah.
And it just proves, this game just proves that it's a team sport. One person can't do it by themselves. And although, to be fair to Brady, he has made a massive impact. It is basically a completely new culture there in Tampa Bay, which, again, let's all give massive plaudits to how good of a job the Tampa Bay whole backroom staff, the whole organisation has done to get Tom Brady and really turn things around. But it does prove that it is not just one player, and this is a whole organisational thing, and it is a whole team thing as well. Because
it's a very good point. I just wanted to butt in because obviously now the Patriots ourselves are struggling with depth, but we've got the cap space there and stuff. But you two especially, you know, you have probably one of the greatest to ever do it in Aaron Rodgers. You've got one of the highest rated talents coming out of university in Tua Tagovailoa. Brady went to Tampa and asked for Gronk, asked for Antonio Brown, asked for Leonard Fournette. People who, you know, I for one wrote off Leonard Fournette last year. I said, you know, he's a bust. He doesn't know what he's doing. But that wasn't him. That was just how bad the Jaguars were. Antonio Brown, Steelers Nation are crying right now.
He had his off-field problems too. So there's like. There was a case of will he actually be able to come back to the NFL?
Let's also give a little bit of a sad moment to the very unfortunate Raiders as well. Look what we could have had.
Yes, the one training session they had.
The one training session, and then a massive payday.
Do you think? Obviously, Brady is, you know, it comes with a lot of plaudits behind him, but for you guys to increase that depth, do you think it's the backroom staff at the moment that's causing you guys this issue? I mean, the Packers especially, I still can't get over the Jordan Love pick, and you know, the idea of it is good but the only way it wouldn't work is if you had Aaron Rodgers at starting quarterback, and you have Aaron Rodgers as starting quarterback. So yes, you draft for the future, blah, 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 bollocks to that, because that's not what you needed right now. Do you think that the Packers organization and the Dolphins organization really are prepared for the future? Do you feel like you're both probably 1 or 2 players away from being a championship team? The Packers obviously the closest at the moment. Do you feel like off season you need to go after players, or do you think you're happy with what you've got right now? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is screaming for some help? I just want to hear from you guys, really. Just what is it like to watch your team, you know, week in, week out,
be close?
Yeah, and just not.
Yeah,
not
I mean,
make it.
Well, I mean, we got to the championship game 2 seasons in a row now after a losing season. So I mean, I do like how Matt LaFleur's doing it at the moment to some extent. Some players I'm like, really, but I think when Rodgers goes, we'll be in big trouble. because he knows the offense inside and out. Yes, he's had to do a lot on his own at the moment. I think like as long as we're like always like a weapon off, like we can't always rely on Devontae Adams. And there's talk now that Aaron Jones could be going to the Dolphins in the free agency, and he's one of my favorite players at the moment because he just, even though he's not the quickest of running backs when you look at the rest of the list, but he's like built, and he will get that.
He's actually quite good.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest.
And then I know we have like AJ Dillon and we have Williams then as well behind him, both doing quite well when they do play. But as like wide receiver list, as much as I do like Scantling, he drops too many. Rodgers can tell him to do the go route and he might drop half of them. And then we have Alan Lazard, who has been doing quite clutch recently. He always makes the big plays when Adams has been, double teamed. And we had Rob Tonyan come through, massive, great tight end. I think he really broke out this year. But I think as long as we have to like keep targeting Adams too much when we look for that big play, and like when we had Bakhtiari injured just before the playoffs, so we didn't really have anyone then really to cover left tackle, which is a bit annoying. And then I think we're still like one or two more defensive players off because our defense is okay. Like we're still fairly good. We have really good players like Jay Alexander and Darnell Savage, doing bits the whole time. But then it's like when you have the Kevin Kings who, a bit brain dead in the most important games of the season, it doesn't help. So yeah, I think when Rodgers does go in a couple of years' time, we'll have way more cap space. But then I think I don't trust our board to make the right picks or signings to make sure we still compete each year.
But the argument has to be, especially for you guys. I mean, I don't want to spend loads of time on it when we are talking about a Super Bowl here, but regardless, I mean, you picked Jordan Love in a year that you don't need him, so you were never going to use him. So that's 1 year of his 4 gone. Then you've got 5 gone. 1 year is 5 gone, and then this year there is an absolutely stacked draft class full of quarterbacks. If you could have very easily gone and got another one, I don't know. I mean, that's personal preference. But it's not as if this move could have been done later on. You're in win now mode, and you just threw away a draft pick. And there's no reason why Aaron Rodgers, who still, obviously wins MVP and well deserved. Nice little highlight for you for the season for Packers fans, but I mean, you want a ring. That's the point. You want rings. That's what you play the game. You don't play it for MVP awards. You play it for Super Bowl rings and to be the best that you can be. And I just don't see the point of drafting a quarterback when you don't need one. And although it is going for the future, I mean, you could have picked anyone. You could have picked anyone. You could have picked someone from the third round if you wanted to be that defensive about it. But the first round, you traded with us. You traded up to go and get it.
Yeah, I know. It was weird. Like, we traded up to get a quarterback. Like, I remember when it happened, I was seeing everyone, Packers, right? I was just going insane because they were like, we don't need this. Like, it was like, I don't think they weren't too impressed with Love anyway when he was coming up. And so it's like, plus that was like the season where we really needed the another wide receiver as well. So it's frustrating. I don't
think you drafted a skilled player since Jesus was really.
Yeah.
It's. I'm just having a look at this draft class now, and you moved up to 26, to get him. At 25, you just missed out on Brandon Ayuk, who's had a very, very decent rookie season in San Francisco. But on the board then afterwards, you had Jordan Brooks, who went to Seattle, Patrick Queen, Isaiah Wilson, if you wanted to tighten up the offensive line. You missed out on Jeff Gladney at cornerback, and then you missed out on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back. And then literally the first pick after Clyde Edwards-Helaire by the Bengals was T. Higgins, who fantastic wide receiver. Then you had Michael Pittman Jr., who was massive, 6'6" wide receiver, could take the pressure off Devontae Adams. You have to question some of the drafting and the free agency moves the Packers and the Dolphins have made in the last couple of years.
I don't know about us. I don't know if we can be thrown under the bus quite as bad. I mean, we were never in win now mode throughout the last 2 years, but I know.
Yeah.
We still.
You're like, you've been gone through like, okay, let's rebuild, let's try and get our draft picks up, and
We've been
get the
crap.
money back.
We've been crap for
And
years.
now this year, you're like, okay, let's see what we can do now with the stuff that we have, and you just missed out on the wildcard game, so
I think the aim
you're going in the right direction.
I think the aim for this year was to get into the playoffs, and we hit on a lot of free agency moves, but there was one or two that we missed on. For example, defense. I mean, picked up Byron Jones, which is great. I mean, X had a better season still, but I mean, it's the double threat that you've got. Basically, you can't throw to either side, so it makes the game a little bit easier. Lawson, we've had some good moves in certain areas, whatever. Breeder, we didn't hit on. Jordan Howard, we didn't hit on. Offense is where we struggled. So we had the same near enough rubbishy offense as last season. This season just gone, and we had no hope. But this game, the Super Bowl, shows it perfectly. Look what can happen when you've got big quality players on offense that can make plays in a heartbeat. Because, I mean, 4 people were on Gronkowski, and no one got anywhere near him. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing, if you can pick that up, and of course, we've got Mike Gesicki already, one decent weapon. We've got Devontae Parker, another decent weapon. But, I mean, you look at, after that, Jakeem Grant, maybe Albert Wilson, if he comes back, is he going to be the same player? I don't know. It's very much these two, one guy, and then the rest. And it's just a bit kind of, what we're going to get. But it really highlighted to me how if you give the quarterback, again, because this is a quarterback league at the moment, it really is, but it's still not one player. You give the quarterback the weapons, and I'm in the Dolphins group chat. We all started saying the same thing last night, which is, right, let's just forget Watson, let's just move on and just get Tua weapons. Because even if Tua doesn't work out, the next guy will, and we'll still be able to move forward with it. And that's basically exactly what the Bucs did. They didn't obviously draft people, but they had a few people they had already, of course, Evans, Godwin, and whatever. They brought in 2 or 3 more, and they just made themselves basically a super team. But it sounds a bit stupid because I say super team, but they still finished 5th in the in terms of the playoff hunt. They finished 5th, and they were the 5th seed, and they were a wild card team. And a wild card team has now won the Super Bowl, which is nuts. And if the Dolphins had have won, I mean, I'm not going to go on the Super Bowl, please do not get me wrong. But if we'd have won against the Bills on the final day, we'd have been the 5th seed in the AFC. So, there's no reason why in years to come we could make that run, sooner rather than later. But again, that's the ability that, wildcard teams now have got. There's obviously 3 of them, so it makes it a little bit, say, easier, more difficult. You pick whatever words you want. But it makes it a bit more interesting. And it's one of the really interesting dynamics that, I kind of want to move on to with the Kansas City Chiefs team. A few of their players are disappearing. Sammy Watkins, who knows what the hell's going to go on with him? Is he staying? Is he going? They do need depth. They struggle in certain areas. Tampa looked like they had it all completely set. But talking about players being set, let's talk about Tyrann Mathieu, because he was, pardon my language, fucking rattled.
Yeah. He made the one mistake you do not make. You do not try and get under Tom Brady's skin. This man has been an underdog his entire life. You're not going to piss him off. He's just going to target you, make you look an absolute fool. And that's what happened. Antonio Brown sent him to the next state over in that touchdown, the 3rd touchdown there. I've seen it happen to so many great players over the years, just trying to get under Tom Brady's skin. A little hit there, a little comment, Tom Brady isn't fazed by that shit. 7 times Super Bowl winner is not going to be fazed by. It's like going up to Michael Jordan and telling him his shit. He's like, okay, watch this. Watch this now. Watch this. 45 points in your head. But man, I think he's such a leader, Tyrann Mathieu, which is why I was so surprised at him losing his head like that. That when he lost his head, every other player lost their head because they're like, oh, this is what our captain's doing. Okay, we'll shout at everyone. And there was no cohesion at all. The Bucs tore them apart. And it was little 5-yard passes, 6-yard passes, little 4-yard run. It was little stuff that just getting them over the edge all the time. And they in no answer for them at all.
It was just efficiency. It was
cold.
It was a real Patriots win. That was a real Patriots win. Never a Hail Mary. Never. Let's just go long and air it out and see who we've got. Just play very simplistic passes and make the receivers do hard work and leave Tom do absolutely everything so simplistically. Not saying he obviously coasted through. Of course, he had an insane game. But you make the game easier for him. He can go and do the stuff that when he needs to do it, he's got more energy, more time, more ability to go and do it. He's more opportunity. Very few opportunities to make mistakes, and that's basically what the Bucs did. They just did not make mistakes.
No, not a single foot wrong. Not a turnover. I think Brady had a fumble, but was able to pick it up on the snap that went over his head. It was clinical. It was cold. It was like just poetry in motion the whole game, and they made the Chiefs just completely capitulate, and it was just embarrassing in the end to watch. Like the 31-9 could have been higher. I don't think it was going to be any lower. It could have been a lot uglier. There was some of those deep passes, especially towards Mike Evans, where if Brady hit on them, it's open field. It's 40. You're in your 50 points now. It just looked shocking, absolutely shocking.
No, I think it's a really nice thing. Sorry, I was just thinking, but I think it's a really nice thing that we played the Chiefs. I think it was week 10 of the regular season, something like that. We lost 31-28, I think it was. I think it was about a score, maybe 27. About a score in it either way. We lost to them. And we caused them problems. And, honestly, again, I didn't really want to root for Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. But this proves to the league that, the best team out there that was the Chiefs by an absolute country mile. I think we can all agree on that. They were the best team throughout the regular season. There is no way in hell that they are completely undefeatable.
Yeah. Every team in this league can lose, and that's why I love this game so much.
Completely.
Just a quick question. We saw last night that they had home field advantage pretty much. For the first time ever in a Super Bowl. How much of an impact do you guys think that made?
I think it was massive. I think it was huge.
When you don't play without fans for an entire season in the biggest game of the year, you have everyone in the stadium shouting for you, screaming for you. Obviously, it's never happened before in the Super Bowl, but you see it all the time in the AFC Championship, NFC Championship matches. The team with home advantage usually ends up winning, and they might not even be the best team. They just end up having a higher seed, and that's kind of why I was surprised that Green Bay didn't go for the kill against Tampa, because you had the whole of Lambeau screaming for you, and it just seemed like just seemed dead.
Kicked the field goal, but no, why do we do that?
That's just bad decision making, but
even Rodgers came out and said it wasn't his call, that he wanted to go for it. But home advantage would have been huge on both. And I think that's why we did better against Tampa the second time, because when we got dicked by them during the regular season, and then we came up just short championship game with our fans this time around, because we were away the first time. And I think that was the first game we had played that season as well, where we had fans in the stadium, because Lambeau didn't have anything, or any of our away games. Prior to that, we didn't have anything. So I think it might have been the occasion then, or like Rodgers not being used to the noise because of being so quiet for so long, maybe. But then at the same time, then on another question then for you guys, Mahomes, he had a massive contract at the start of this season. Current Super Bowl champions. Do you think there was just too much pressure on him to win it this time? And that's maybe why him and the rest of the team crumbled.
I'll let Ian answer this first.
I don't think so, no. Obviously, that's still the standard. So, that's what you should be expecting. But I don't think it was pressure in terms of that respect. I do think there was too much pressure on him to deliver on the big game when he had a depleted offensive line. Plus, he was basically on 1 foot. And I think it was, again, the Tampa Bay's organisation. They sorted it out from top to bottom. They had depth, they had quality depth as well. And they knew that if one person was going to fall out, they had the next man up. Where KC, it's never really like that. It's if the big man is out, fuck, kind of thing. That's the bottom line. Especially with the offensive line, they just got battered. And with the big contract, they know that they've got a star for the next 10 years. They know that's wrapped up. So I think maybe this year, I think it probably does have some sort of an impact. But there was large chunks of this game, again, the 500 rushing yards in various different directions, and none of them, or half of them, not even any use. But that kind of thing gets heightened by a wanting to win. And that's what Mahomes does. He wants to win. He wants to be the best. And he's got that level and he's got that standard, which makes him one of the best players that there is. Fair enough. Fair play. But on the flip side to it, you do also have to think, about what impact it's having elsewhere. Because, again, this is not a one-player league. It's a quarterback-driven league, but it's not a one-player league. So Patrick Mahomes, the pressure is on him in some capacity, but it was on him anyway. It's on him anyway. I don't think it changes that much. After a while, that will kind of slowly just decline out. But I mean, I'll finish on this as well. Did anyone hear Tony Romo in the commentary say about the difference from 6-2 compared to 7-1?
Yeah.
What a load of shit! What a load of shit! I think that a lot of people are going, oh well, Patrick Mahomes has got to be the GOAT. Like that's the standard. I mean, no one is ever being compared to Babe Ruth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's going, oh look, he's the best player. He's the best player in baseball at the moment. No one's really being compared to Michael Jordan and whatever, in basketball or I mean, certain players in soccer, football, in terms of to Pele, to Maradona, to whatever. But no one is ever going to get near Tom Brady. Not anytime soon. A lot of media will probably drive it towards that theory, but that's not the case. Patrick Mahomes is going to have a different career completely. Although you want to, of course, go and win 7 amount of Super Bowls and be the best that you can be, do I realistically think that Patrick Mahomes is going to go and win 8? No. So
and it's that contract is gonna hold them back because they can't pay anyone.
Yeah.
You've got your guy for the future, but you're not gonna be able to go in free agency, get anyone. You can't pay anyone you've got now. You're gonna have to do with scrubs. Hope you hit on the draft and hope for the best. Really, I don't know.
The only positive that they have got is the fact that a lot of receivers do usually drop down.
Yeah.
So, but again, then you're still running the same risk. It's still one player and a couple of others around him. That's the same thing they're doing at the moment, and they almost got away with it. But I mean, at the end of the day, depth and quality proves, and that's what they got done.
Lad, just to end on it, what do we think of the halftime show?
I loved it. No. Why did they play it through the stadium sound speaker? Why did they not have a... Did it sound really quiet to you guys?
Yeah. It felt
I had it on like
everything
50.
they did, it was like really weird. Like it was like a little echo the whole time. Like the sound wasn't great.
It was coming from the speaker. You think the biggest show of the year for that sport, you got to have the right setup. You got the guy you wanted to perform. He spent $7 million on fireworks. And you can't even hook up the... I don't know.
Did anyone else get young Michael Jackson vibes?
Yeah.
I look at him. He's clearly very talented, but he's clearly a bit weird, and he wanted to put on a big show, and it was all kind of like a big production. And I get it, of course, it's a Super Bowl, but I mean, it's a Super Bowl halftime show, and you spent a good chunk of it in a corridor with some lights when no one can see you.
That was the best bit because you could hear him then.
Oh, he got memes as well, which is just hilarious.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I did not understand how it's a Super Bowl halftime show, and it very famously takes place on the field at halftime. That is literally the point.
Yeah.
And this geezer does have stands.
Yeah.
Why?
Social distancing.
It's nuts. It's nuts. Although, did you like my little message in the WhatsApp in the group chat?
I did. And
is he going to end up with a new face by the end of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I find him very strange. It was a decent enough performance, but I saw on Twitter everyone was going, "Oh, if you're a young person, you loved that," and I'm like,
"No,
it's all right."
No.
I mean, compared to last year's, I know
it doesn't.
Blokes, but
it doesn't compare to last year's because last year's Cause I think it's like because it was the music choice as well. Like you think everyone kind of knows Shakira's and J-Lo's songs, and like the lyrics are like, okay, we can actually vibe to this and have a little party. But the weekend, nah.
It was from someone who has a following on TikTok, from someone who is an sensation,
an influencer.
Pushing
fuck off! No chance. It's someone who has a social media profile on TikTok. I found the whole NFL production of the Super Bowl, not only the halftime show, was very catered towards TikTok.
Yeah.
Everything was catered. They had obviously their Nickelodeon deal and they had their own graphics and whatever. I don't really care about that. But before the game, they had Miley Cyrus doing a TikTok show. Yeah. The weekend, they picked him because of Blinding Lights, one of the biggest trends on TikTok in the last year. And it all just seemed like, okay.
You had Jackson Mahomes TikToking the whole thing throughout the game.
Do we really care?
No, but
not really.
50 million followers. It's the NFL invest in that kind of shit. But
they're trying. I think they tried to bring in a different demographic, and it just didn't work. So it was all right. Like it was. I mean, there's been worse.
Of
course, there is. But I mean, the last 5-6 years, I can't think of one that was worse than that. To be honest with you. No. That's because there has been some really good ones, to be fair, elsewhere. I mean, I still didn't look at it and think, wow. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it from us. Make sure you subscribe if you're around here. Make sure you subscribe to Craigo28 Football and Craigo28 Sports. And, we'll see you very, very soon. There's a big off-season coming up. A lot of mock drafts that we're going to be doing. Is that right, Sally?
Yes, I'm going to have to change my position now because of what happened yesterday. But, yes.
And your first one was terrible. But there we are. We'll be doing a fair few of them, going for our reactions to it. A lot of stuff, of course, with free agency as well, and some big moves. Who knows who's going to be going where? I'm looking forward to it. This NFL season 2021 starts now. Let's make sure that you're along for the ride. Thank you for watching. If you're around here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you back here for loads more NFL content. Take care. Stay safe. See you later.
Ba-boom.
Bosh.